the past 6 years have been an absolute nightmare for anything involving Friday the 13th, and it looked like we may have been getting something to keep fans interested, and it actually involved one of the best asymmetrical games out there, but of course, this is no longer the case, and that's what we're going to talk about today, how Jason almost came back to life. And of course, I want to hear from the community here, man. I know you guys are super passionate about this game like I am. I'm going to tell you all the details, and some of this stuff may surprise you, and it may surprise you how close we were to actually getting a brand new game. If you like what I do, consider subscribing and make sure you hit your notifications so you never miss a video or a live stream from me. Let's go and get into it. Now, our favorite hockey mask wearing camp counselor killer was almost back in the spotlight. And I know I talked about a brand new Friday the 13th game about 6 months ago, maybe 7 months ago now at this point, that Harry Manfredini, the original composer, actually confirmed. But what was being brought forward is actually a resurrection to Friday the 13th, the game, like the game, the asymmetrical game that was absolutely just one of the best horror games that I had ever played. Now, Friday the 13th, the game was special for a few different reasons. It wasn't like the best looking game, right? It was kind of clunky in its controls, but that was part of the appeal to it. It was kind of like how the movies from the 80s were, the camera work and the actors. It was a different time, right? So people acted differently, and that's kind of the same feeling I got from the game. You had that little bit of corniness with the actors themselves and with the characters in the game, but that's what made it really special. And I think Gunn and Ilphonic really captured that very well, but they also captured the atmosphere really well in some of the most iconic maps in the movies that we've ever seen. We also had a slew of different Jasons and different kills to choose from, and that was one of the cool things about it too. You never knew who was going to be Jason. So when your time came to play the big guy himself, it was always very exciting. And then, of course, the camp counselors had to try to do their thing to get away from him. Now, of course, the game was removed from Steam at the end of 2023, and it will be completely delisted as far as from any kind of servers at the end of this year. And so what fans did is they said, hey, let's go through the base game and let's update the game ourselves. It's kind of a big thing in horror. When a franchise dies off, you will have fans make their own movies, Never Hike Alone, and you will have them go through and update the game. And actually, the updates they put in seemed like they were going to be a ton of fun. There was new kills, there was new Jason skins, you had retro skins, you actually had, new weapons to choose from. They actually incorporated some of the Never Hike Alone stuff in there. We even got Jason X, or we were going to get Jason X, and a whole host of new maps, and we were actually going to have some snow maps as well. And all of this was going to be released as Friday the 13th, the game resurrected. And they were going to run their own servers, do constant updates for the game. And it all sounded fantastic. And it was set to be released on Steam on April 15th of 2024. Now, as of the recording of this video, that was only just a few days ago. But unfortunately, as this thing started to make its rounds and people started to publish what might be coming, of course, Horror Inc. decided to shut this thing down. So they sent those guys a cease and desist, and that's exactly what they had to do. Now, if this didn't gain as much traction as it did, I think there's a strong possibility that this actually would have been released, and I'm sure it would have been shut down at some point. But because it gained so much traction and because we were so close to that initial launch date, yeah, there was no way this thing was actually getting out there. I mean, Horror Inc. is really known for doing this. Sending out cease and desist when it comes to anything Friday the 13th related. They really don't play around. I think, I was reading one of the threads or something, or a subreddit or wherever it was, and somebody said that they are like the Nintendo of the horror world, and I think that's pretty much right. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think it's cool to kind of, profit off of somebody else's intellectual property. But this case was a little bit different because they weren't looking to profit off this. This was actually a free to play game on their servers. You didn't have to buy any of this stuff. And even though they were using the base game as kind of the cornerstone of what they put in place, it's not like they were charging. Now, would it have been awesome if they actually went through and got the permission and did all that kind of stuff first? Absolutely. Then they probably could have charged for it, but let's be honest, they would have never actually gotten to that point. I think Horror Inc. and, after this whole lawsuit is settled, we have rumors of a brand new game, and I think they just want Friday the 13th, the game, to just die off completely. And if we are really getting that new game, that's what they want to be the focus on. But this also shows us one more thing, that Friday the 13th fans aren't just going to sit by idly and let this thing die forever. We want new content. We want new movies, series, even TV series. I mean, Jesus, we want to see our favorite camp counselor killer back in action again. It's been way too long since we've had anything. It was 2009 since the last Friday the 13th movie? I mean, hell, to put that in perspective, Michael Myers has gone through 3 more movies since the last time we've seen Friday the 13th. He's kind of like in purgatory, I feel like, with Freddy Krueger in a way, because it's been a long time since we've seen a Nightmare on Elm Street movie as well. And even though people really like Freddy Krueger, and myself included, we really, really like Jason and Friday the 13th. And it's just a shame, man, that this thing got shut down. And again, I understand it's their property. They can do what they want with it. But at the same time, this just goes to show you, come out with the damn game. Give us some kind of news on it, because we will give you our money willingly. If it's good, we will give you our money. Give us something, though. Let us in a little bit and let us see what you're working on if the game actually does exist. I have no reason to not believe Harry Manfredini. Why would he even go out of his way to say that kind of stuff? So I do believe there's a game out there. We just want to see something from it. So whoever the fans were that actually went through and tried to get this thing going, I wish they would have done it the right way, but I appreciate, they kind of sparked up a new conversation when it comes to Friday the 13th, and we're all just looking forward to something new. I'd love to hear your opinion of this whole situation down below. Big thanks to you guys for joining me. See you in the next one, and as always, hold them down.